With September being Suicide Awareness Month, that it would be appropriate for us to kind of talk about some of the resources that are available, and really just kind of just let you know that it's okay to talk about suicide. The more we talk about it, the better we're going to be, the more people we can reach out and help. So with that, I'm going to turn some time over to Elisa to kind of just really dive into this and explain some of the programs that are out there.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Mayor Petro. We have so many things going on this month, but also, I mean, there's so many resources out there all the time that I just kind of want to highlight. But we have so many resources going on right now because of Suicide Awareness Month that I just want to highlight. So September 21st, we have the UTA is partnering with Davis County Health Department and North Davis CTC, so Clearfield, Syracuse CTC, Communities That Care. And they're doing a prevention resource fair right there at the Clearfield UTA Frontrunner stop.
Oh, excellent.
And so they'll be handing out gun locks, flyers for New Hope Week, Everyday Strong Resilience pamphlets. They'll be giving a lot of resources right there at the Frontrunner stop. So that's from 3:30 to 6:30. And then all next week, so the 20th through the 26th, is New Hope Week, and New Hope and Intermountain Healthcare are partnering together to give the community a lot of resources. So they usually do their annual walk, but because of COVID, they're doing like a virtual walk as well. It's socially distanced, so you can register for that. That's on Saturday the 26th. Okay. All this information will be provided in the links. But they're also doing a Working Minds training on September 22nd, which is a training specifically for businesses and suicide prevention in the workplace.
Let me interrupt you there because I know Dawn and I had an opportunity to, actually we've taken 2 classes on that now. So Dawn, do you want to share with everybody what we learned?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. It was nice to attend the training, the Working Minds training, and it's broken down into 4 chapters. But what it really talks about is in the workplace, being able to approach a coworker that you think might be at risk for, harming themselves or thinking about ending their life, and it gives you clues and tips on what to watch for, what to say, and then it also goes into what kind of resources, how you can refer somebody out, whether businesses have employee assistance programs, and some of these resources that Elisa will probably talk about. And then also at the very end it talks about what to do after the fact, and it may be that a coworker has come back to work after some time off, or it may be that it's a family member, a coworker that's a family member of somebody that has died from suicide, and there's a lot of things that you can say and do and to help out, and this course gives you ideas on how to do that.
Yeah, it's an excellent course. I would highly recommend anyone to take it. I mean, it's kind of one of those things you never know until you're in that situation, similar to like CPR, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the fact that it's free, right?
Yes, it's free and it's virtual. Intermountain Healthcare is the trainers for it and will be providing it. But just like CPR, Working Minds is just needed, and it builds the capacity of your workforce to be able to help each other. So I think it's a great training, and all organizations should consider offering it in their workplace as well. So some other trainings they have QPR, which they're also offering on September 22nd. So QPR is Question, Persuade, and Refer. So it's another training like Working Minds, but just for community members, where they really, it gives you the skills to be able to talk to someone who you may be thinking is having suicidal ideation, and how to talk to them, so question and persuade them to be safe and healthy, and then refer them to resources. So it's a really great capacity building training as well. And so again, and that's also virtual and that's also free. So these trainings are offered free through Intermountain Healthcare and New Hope. So Utah Department of Health is providing a safe messaging training,
Okay.
because how we talk about this is really important in the impact it has on our community. So that's September 25th. UVU is holding their annual suicide prevention conference on October 9th from 9 to 4. So this conference is an all-day conference for professionals, service providers, families or community members, anyone who wants to attend and learn more about suicide awareness, suicide prevention, and how they can tailor it to, you know, their situation. But then there's resources that you can access at any time. So the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is probably the
Most common?
most common one. So the number for that, and it'll be posted in the links, is 1-800-273-TALK. So it's 24/7, confidential, free. The state has liveonutah.org, which is a statewide prevention effort to promote education, provide resources, and change the culture around suicide. So Safe UT app is specifically for our youth. So it's an app you download on your phone. The school districts statewide, they're trying to push this app. So it has crisis hotline on it. They can text through it for crisis help. But then they can also put in tips and things if, you know, they're worried about someone else or, you know, bullying, anything that's related to our youth can go through the Safe UT app. It's a great resource. There's some population-specific suicide prevention, such as the Trevor Project, which is specifically for the LGBTQ youth. They have a crisis line for that youth and that population. And then there's the Trans Lifeline, which is crisis help for the trans community, by the trans community. So for those trans individuals. And then there's the Veterans Crisis Line. So that's for our veterans and our military members. So all of these crisis lines and helps out there, but it's for individuals who, you know, have a specific experience, right? Like with our veterans or the LGBTQ population. So it's really that competency piece in what they're experiencing. So because of COVID, a lot of individuals are experiencing stress with COVID. Utah has implemented the Utah Strong Recovery Project. And so they're offering free counseling, free crisis help, education, resources, if anything related to COVID-19. And so that's a great prevention resource for suicide that the state's doing right now. It's all free, 24/7 confidential. And then of course we have our local, you know, resources such as Davis Behavioral Health, which is the organization I'm from. They have their own crisis line and their own counselors that you can come in, stop in, get some help or call. And then we have the Davis Mindfulness Center, which is a great prevention resource. They have evidence-based, mindfulness-based stress reduction course that they do every 8 weeks. Great resource for individuals who are experiencing unnatural levels of stress. Mindfulness is an evidence-based for that, you know, for stress.
Right.
But I love how you just talked about the importance of breaking the stigma, talking about it. That's the main thing we can do for suicide awareness and suicide prevention is breaking that stigma, opening up, talking about it, encouraging others to talk about it. Because there's this misconception that if you talk to someone about suicide or if you ask them about suicide, then it will put the idea in their head, and it's actually the opposite. They're more likely to talk to you about it and what they might be doing if they have a means in mind. So some important risk factors for individuals who are experiencing suicidal ideation: increased substance and alcohol abuse, aggressive behavior, withdrawal from friends and family, dramatic mood swings, and impulsive and reckless behavior. And then some specific suicide behaviors that if someone's doing these behaviors and you notice this, that's your kind of key to connect them to those resources immediately. So collecting...
I'm going to stop you there.
Yeah.
say those key points one more time, because I think this is critical. This is just one little snippet of how this education process works, because I mean, it's one of those things where all of us need to learn and grow. So just mention those 4 topics again.
Yeah, so
Or signs, excuse me, the signs.
So for the risk factors, so those are risk factors: increased substance abuse, aggressive behavior, withdrawal from friends, dramatic mood swings, and impulsive reckless behavior. So having kind of those behaviors, those will put you at risk of suicide. And then these specific behaviors, really, if in combined with the risk factors, you really need to make sure you're connecting them to those immediate resources.
Yeah.
And following up as well, not just connecting them to, but following up to make sure that they've connected. So collecting pills, buying firearms, or any access to lethal means. So if they're trying to find a way for lethal means, that's why the county is giving out gun locks. And providing kind of the gun safety training. So there's Calm Utah counseling on access to lethal means. So there's firearms are the number one way that individuals die by suicide. So making if you notice someone trying to obtain a firearm and they have kind of those risk behaviors, talk to them about it. Giving away possessions is another big, especially things that are dear to them, right? Like, tying up loose ends, especially financially, that's a big one as well. And then saying goodbye to friends and family, right, for no specific reason, like they're not going on a vacation or something or moving. So those, especially combined with those risk factors, those are huge kind of
red flags for us to watch for. Right.
Yes, and so that's where you use your training. If you utilize QPR to ask someone if they're thinking of committing suicide or dying by suicide, and what you can do to help them and getting them to resources. So that's really key. But like I said, even if you're not thinking about suicide, just help the community break the stigma, encourage help-seeking behaviors, and really just have each other's back.
I was going to say, I think what this really boils down to, it's a matter of being a friend, being a neighbor, being concerned for each other, and certainly if we can just recognize those signs and embrace it, and just simply asking a question is prevented sometimes.
Exactly.
But I think we've all been or know of somebody that's been through the situation with suicide. I know personally I've had a brother-in-law. I've had my niece's brother, her husband's brother. We've had just here recently a teenager within our neighborhood area, and I know at one point my daughter actually had struggled with this. So I just feel like we need to just stop being in the closet. Let's get it out there. Let's talk about it, because it's like everything else. If you talk about it, you can find a good solution. There's always a solution, whether you're dealing in politics or whether it's with health issues. There's always a solution. So I just want to thank you too for being here with me and kind of helping get this word out.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll give a shout out to Clint Morris. He did the 22 days of push-ups and to help get this word out as well for the veterans. So anyway, thank you again, and I look forward to next week's Monday with the Mayor.